Hey everyone, welcome back. So this is my tag response video to my top 10 films. Is it my top 10? Kind of my top 10 films of the 1980s. Now I was dreading getting tagged in this video, so thanks to Ollie, my friend. Yeah, he had so many good 80s films. This list is almost without question going to be the hardest list ever. The most unstable list of top 10 films, so I didn't know how to approach it and I was struggling really bad, but what I decided to do was I didn't go for the best movies, like it is in critically acclaimed obviously. I went for a more personal route, so this is my personal, selection, and I've done it based on how much I owe that movie. So what I mean by that is how much I've rewatched these movies. So some of these movies, they were just constant rewatches. As I grew up in sort of like the back end of the 80s and go through the 90s, these were the ones that were always in the player. I've always gone back to the majority. Some of them I found a bit later on in life, but I think everything on this list in this top 10 will be ones that I can probably say, bar maybe one or two, I've rewatched the most out of almost any films. So that's how I've done my list. So yeah, don't expect to see the highest grossing movies of the 1980s, or obviously your own list of 80s movies on here. This is my personal one that affected me. I've got, like I say, this list is I could reshuffle this list now and still have a solid top 10 for me to stand by, but this is where the cookies have settled, as they say, and yeah, I'm going to go with these. So let's get into it. It's a sequel to a movie, so I've definitely watched this one. This is one of those ones where I don't know if you do it so much nowadays, but back in the day when I was younger, you would maybe stumble across a film, and it might well be the second or third or fourth one of an instalment of a series of films. But you'd just go with it. You wouldn't even really question the fact that it was the second one. You just kind of enjoy it for what it was. And this is definitely one of those for me. And it's the one I had on taped off TV, kind of VHS under the screen that we used to have back in the house. And that is Short Circuit 2. So yeah, controversial opinion I'm sure, but this one definitely my personal favourite of the two movies that they've done there. Love Johnny Five. But me and my best mate growing up, we used to like dream about making this thing as we were young boys in school, and yeah, just the emotion this one would conjure up in a young boy as well, and the inevitable happens at the end of the film or towards the end where Johnny Five takes a bit of a beating. That was a hard hitting moment for me as a young boy. So yeah, to think that a machine can evoke that sort of emotion just shows how connected and how like invested I was in this film. So yeah, Short Circuit 2, absolute like staple from my childhood. Big fan of Jim Henson. If you know the channel, you know me by now. Dark Crystal. So this was one of the first dark fantasy type films I saw. Used to creep me the heck out whenever I saw this. If you know this film, there's a scene where I think it's the Emperor Skeksis is basically on his deathbed, and when he just dissolves into like powder, absolutely freaked me out when I was a kid, but in a way where I was just kind of like couldn't look away. It's just so like creepy, but kind of like you're so interested in it at the same time. Yeah, love the creature work, like I always say about the Jim Henson Creature Shop creations, the Skeksis, the Mystics. Not a single person in this film shown. It's all like people with puppets around them or in costumes. Yeah, just I love it. And there's not going to be a full review of these movies. I'm going to try and make this video as quick as I can. This was another VHS rerun, constant rerun for me. That is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Yeah, again, going back to that kind of like practical effects work, this is what I grew up on. Rick Moranis in the 80s. These kids that had like, they're in this back garden, and their dad's this kind of like kind of crazy scientist who ends up zapping them, and well, they accidentally zap themselves with this ray he's working on to shrink things down, and then to see them walking around their own back garden with their neighbours as well, and the ant creature that they end up riding on, it's all practical in there. The sets they built, superb, fantastic. And again, this is why I love these movies nowadays still with practical effects. Like, it all goes back to these movies. Practical effects, everything was built on set, ready to like touch and feel and see and react to. So yeah, superb, absolutely superb film. It doesn't get talked about enough these days, I feel like, but yeah, really enjoyed this first one. For me, just, yeah, I could watch this anytime. So good. Now this one is going to be probably on a lot of people's list, or I expect it to be, and that is Stand By Me. So yeah, another Stephen King adaptation that's put on the big screen. There's just such a warmth about this film, and anyone that's watched it will probably tell you, especially if you caught it at the right time. I caught this at a perfect time. I've told the story before on the channel many times, I think, or a few years back. But I think me and my mate were probably not too dissimilar to the age of these boys when we first saw this. When I first saw this, so I went round his house in a hot summer in the holidays. We got nothing to do. Your sort of parents are at work, and I wandered around his house on my bike. Yeah, went in, and it was so hot. We just sat in his room, and I think he said, he's like, "I'll just stick a film on," and he put Stand By Me on. I'd never even heard of it, and we sat there and we just watched it, and so relatable to two young lads who are just like, best mates, going out exploring. This is what we used to do, just go around, walking around the old railway lines where we used to grow up, and we used to go around in the little woods area and all sorts. So relatable. It was a really hot summer. Yeah, hit this at the perfect moment with a perfect audience. Me and my best pal. So that'll forever stay in my memory, that experience. So yeah, that is number 7, I want to say. Number 6, it's got to be E.T. Steven Spielberg classic. Yeah, again, this is another one of these VHS that's always been in the player. Yeah, again, practical effects. That creature there, it was reacting, it was all animatronic. No one hasn't seen E.T., I'm sure, so there's no point me telling you anything about this film that you don't already know. Yeah, superb, absolute childhood staple for me. Yeah, again, quite dark in places. I remember this one had another scene where when E.T.'s laying in that stream and he's been out in the sort of stream overnight and looking pale as anything. That used to freak me out as well. So yeah, maybe these should be the movies that scarred me growing up, but from the 80s. But yeah, E.T. is going to be in number 6, I think it is. Number 5. Back to the Future. So yeah, you can't. I wanted to have the first 2 of these, especially, maybe even the third one, but definitely the first 2 of these in my list. But I just didn't, there wasn't room. So I'm going to go with the first one. That's the one that kicked it off. Yeah, this is another. I'm just basically opening up the old VHS drawer I used to have as a kid and pulling out all the titles I have in here, bar a couple. But yeah, again, such a well-known film. You're not going to not know about this film. Yeah, Doc and Marty, just going backwards and forwards in time. I think this has probably given me shaped a taste in my film watching habits, like up to this day, where I just love a film now which plays with time or time travel, especially if it's really grounded in reality as well. Not that this was particularly grounded in reality too much, but yeah, I'm pretty sure this has had a lasting effect on my sort of film taste going forward in life. So I owe a big debt to Back to the Future. Number 4, Christmas movie, Die Hard. So that old debate. So yeah, Die Hard, again, this is one I've watched so many times because I do watch it every Christmas pretty much where I can. This is one of the ones that, it's one of those first films that you see when you're way too young to watch it. Well, it was for me anyway. Just fun, just absolute fun. What movies? This reminds me of a time where, back in the UK anyway, and some people will relate to this or remember this, there used to be movies on, it's on like ITV or like, Channel 3, Channel 4, something like that. And they'd play like the first hour of the movie or something from 9 till 10. And as a young lad, you'd be all right staying up to that late. Then they put the 10 o'clock news on, and the 10 o'clock news would cut into, like, the film would not be finished. It would then play the 10 o'clock news for like half an hour or an hour or something. And then the film would pick up again like after the news, and it really used to bug me because sometimes I wasn't allowed to stay up that late afterwards, or I'd just literally fall asleep because I was so tired and I'd miss the end of the movie. But there were so many good movies that I remember having such nostalgia for when I saw doing it that way, or taping the end of it and watching it the next day. Yeah, but I remember it's one of those type of films for me, just such a good classic. Again, no one's not going to know about this, right? So just a good classic action movie, so much fun, so many quotables in here. Yeah, fantastic. Now again, this is another movie which I think I've told this story a few times on the channel for. This was my first violent film, I want to say like mentally scarringly violent film that I saw way too young. Remember picking it up in a shop called MVC, Music and Video Club, I think it was, in Colchester with my dad. I think I spent my pocket money on it. It was like $3.99, I want to say. I remember seeing a sticker, like member's price, and that is Robocop. yeah, I remember watching this upstairs in my room on my own for the first time. You know, for a young boy, you just want to see that cover, or you know, an equivalent cover of a Robocop. There's nothing better than you can imagine as a as a young lad, to you want to watch on a big screen. I remember my dad sort of like being a bit cautious of let me watch this. I don't think he'd seen it, so he didn't know what was in there, but he just was gauging the cover and he saw the 18 and he was sort of umming and ahhing. And I managed to persuade him and say, you know, it's all right. I've seen something similar to this before. I'm sure, I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, so he let me watch it. I watched it upstairs, and the scene that obviously got me and probably a lot of people was when Alex Murphy is in that he raids that place in that sort of warehouse, and when he's still Alex Murphy. And they catch him, and the old shotgun scene following up and down and taking away a part of his body, shall we say? Cool. And then the bullets all going into him, and the actual death scene, horrendous. Definitely mentally scarred me, but you know, all for the better, I'd say. Yeah, really, really fantastic film. That's my number 3. Number 2. The original Karate Kid. So I love all 3 of these movies. The 4th one, not so much in here, but yeah, the first one, second one, really enjoy when they go to Okinawa. But the first one, this film, again, I've told this story once or twice before on the channel, but watching this film over and over again made me actually take up karate lessons as a young boy. This is the thing that got me into doing it. I stopped a long time ago now, but yeah, this changed how I wanted to, you know, I wanted to be the Karate Kid. I was just so in awe of like this relationship between this old Mr. Miyagi and this young kid Daniel. Like a coming of age story, you know, one of the probably again shaped my taste for coming of age films up to this day. This young underdog story about this kid winning against the bad guys, you know, but he takes a few beatings in the process to get to that process. Yeah, again, fantastic film. Let's go on to number 1. Now, if anyone knows me, they know what's coming. So I couldn't have this not at number 1. Favourite film of all time, Jim Henson's The Labyrinth. Yeah, I mean, I think I've spoken about this on every video for the last like 6 months, so I don't want to say too much more. Love the songs, love the creature work. Definitely the most rewatched film I've ever seen in my life. I can pretty much quote this word for word. I do this annoying thing when I watch it with anyone, which is I basically can say the line that's about to come on the screen about 2 seconds before it comes on the screen, and I just literally do that for the entire film, and it really bugs everyone I watch it with, so I have to kind of watch it alone. But I love it. So yeah, that's my number 1 80s movie. Yeah, The Labyrinth. I look forward to hearing if anyone does want to reply from my tags. I'll try and dot them around the screen. Then feel free and obviously tag me in the video so I know you've done it. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you again on the next one. Thanks guys, see you again.